Hello everybody. I hope you're doing well. Just gonna get started again this morning. This is our 4th day in a row together, so I hope you guys are getting some value out of this. I am enjoying coming at you live every morning, so hopefully you're getting a little something out of it. I wanted to continue our talk on anger from yesterday. It takes up a lot of time. It's a big chunk of what most of us are going through or will eventually go through. I've said it a million times at this point now. Healing is not linear, and so a lot of the times, especially on big complex chunks like this part of anger, it tends to circle back around, and sometimes you can put out the fire, maybe a little bit of the rage that's inside, and then something will trigger, and you'll just feel that anger, that rage all over again. So the trick is finding good ways of dealing with it, right? So we talked maybe a little scattered yesterday. I didn't have a good plan for what I was going to talk about regarding anger. But today I want to dive, and again, I'm working right now out of the Courage to Heal workbook. Make sure that if you get the workbook or the book that, like I said, you have a good, awesome support system that you are able to lean on, because it does really get you thinking about your trauma, and it really helps trigger some of those old suppressed memories that maybe you were protecting yourself from, because I think that's one of the best qualities of trauma survivors is their resiliency and their ability to bounce back. But the problem is that a lot of times we're holding it in when we do that, right? So and then it festers and you get angry, and here we are. So I wanted to start with today with sharing this little mantra that I've read in this book and I really have clinged on to, and it's really beautiful, and it's a really beautiful way of portraying what good actually can come out of anger. So we will talk about that more here in just a minute, but I want to read this to you real quick, and it goes in to say, in the Courage to Heal, we call anger the backbone of healing, because it can keep you going through the ups and downs of the healing process. Because, again, growth isn't easy. It is mostly painful, and you are going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to get frustrating, but it's worth it. It's worth it because you're worth it. So, anger motivates you to say, this is the beautiful part, this is where I'm underlined, I'm going to heal no matter what. I won't give up. I won't let my abuser win. And that's the motivation to keep going. That's the motivation to heal. Is like, if you heal, it's the ultimate takedown of your abuser, because what did they do? It's a memory now. You're still here. You're better than ever, and maybe they don't know that, and that's fine. They don't need to know that, because it's about you. You are the most important part. Okay. So, again, I went over this a little bit yesterday, but it was kind of scattered. So, the key to the anger is making sure it's directed in the right place. I was talking to my therapist about this yesterday, about how depression a lot of times can actually come from misdirected anger, where you're angry at something, whether it be a sexual abuse survivor who's angry at their abuser, or a childhood neglect person, somebody who suffered childhood neglect, or whatever the case may be. It's misguided anger, misdirected anger. We tend to naturally turn it in on ourselves. So make sure it's directed right where it needs to be, to your abuser and to the people that allowed the abuse to happen. If anybody else was, likely somebody else was an enabler. So I have a lot of anger and resentment towards my mother because she didn't protect me when I was 6 or 7. She and my dad were both the cause of, and the reason why we were at the house that we were at. We were at the party that we were at, and us young children were all laying in some strange people's floor. Like, it's just, there's people that have put you in situations or brought people around or what have you that have enabled the abuser to either abuse or continue abusing. So directing that anger at them where it belongs. And it's difficult because I still have a relationship with my mom, and it's difficult to know who she is today because people can grow. Like, I'm not saying forgive your actual abuser, but my mom, I don't have a whole lot of family, and my mom at the core of who she is, I think is a good person. I hope that she's a good person. But she has drinking problems, and when I was young, she had a pretty bad problem with abusing like antidepressants, and she would just black out, and it would allow access for my stepfather because mom's back there in the back bedroom corner, passed out, like Xanax and alcohol. She doesn't, whatever, and he's free to do whatever he wants. So directing that anger at the right people in a healthy way if you still have relationship with them, like my mom. I went to see her on my birthday, which is last week, and that same day I had therapy, and we're working through anger. Scheduling conflict because I was a little snappy and a little more abrasive than I usually am with her. I'm usually very easily, settled and calm and able to handle her pretty well on a good day, but that was not a good day for me. So there are constructive ways of doing it, especially if you still are in a relationship. So again, anger turned inward as a result can result in depression, like actual illnesses too, of where you're physically breaking down the cells in your body because there's so much pain and anger and sadness, and all of it eats away at you literally, and you break down your immune system and you get sick. It leads to addictions, self-destructive behavior, self-shaming, all of those things. So make sure that you know when and if you're angry, who you're angry at, and what you're going to do with it. It's very important because you deserve all the healing in the entire world. You deserve every bit of goodness that there is in this life. And I want to help you as much as I can. So, while we're still children, many of us, we couldn't feel our feelings, if that makes sense. We had to make a choice whether or not we were going to make a scene or cause another problem for our parents or what have you. And we have a hard time actually pinpointing what our anger or what our feelings look like. So we also model a lot of our behaviors when we get angry, when we get sad, different things after our family members. Like I said, when we were children, we didn't have really even the cognitive ability to sort through the emotions and know exactly what to do with it. So what do? You look for guidance in your parents. You look at and model your behavior after your parents or your guardians or your grandparents or whoever. But there were people, whether you know it or not, in your life that you modeled your behavior after, even the behavior of anger. So in the workbook, the anger inventory breaks down where you got your anger from, where you learned these behaviors from. So when my mother got angry, and you fill in the blank. What did your mother do when she got angry? Let's break it down. Let's break down the people that were around you when you were a child. when you were at your lowest, when you were abused. And, like, for instance, mine, she drank, she went to bed, she went out with friends, she fought with my dad, she cried a lot. She would yell if she was angry with us, and if she was angry with Dad, she would usually talk to me, and she would usually unload her emotional baggage onto me and expect me to carry it around as a young child with my dad still in the same house, still being my dad. So that's what my mother's anger looked like. And then you go on. If you had a father around, what did your father's anger look like? What did your sister, brother, whoever else was in the house with you as you were growing up that really would have had a great influence on you in enacting the anger and providing a model for you in the anger? And so then you say to yourself, when I got angry, I, as a child, or as a person who maybe was before the abuse, whatever, when I got angry, for instance, I wrote, I really didn't feel like I could ever be angry. I remember feeling more scared and lonely than angry. But when I would get angry, I would hold it in and cry at night while laying in my bed, looking out at the lights on the street, and I would like daydream about a better life, and I would say to myself, it's okay. One day you're not going to have to live in this house anymore. You're not going to have to deal with this. You're going to create a really beautiful life for yourself. And it's taken a little while, but I think I'm on the right path. So it is possible, and that's what my anger looked like as a kid. I didn't feel safe with those around me to put that out, and so I just held it in. And so that's what I've learned to do through my whole life, is whenever I'm angry, I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to make it worse. I don't want to cause problems or initiate confrontation or anything like that. I get so physically scared, and that is a natural reaction for me. But it's not a healthy one. It's not good. It is not good. It's misdirected anger, because I eventually get angry at myself for not being able to appropriately handle and divvy out the anger where it actually belongs. So I would get so scared, and I would feel so lonely. So again, we're taking inventory. We're saying, when my mom got angry, she used to, and you list out what your mom did. When my father got angry, or when my mom's boyfriend or partner or whoever was around you got angry, they did this. When my sister or brother they did this. And when I got angry as a child, I did this. And you're looking at who you've adopted your different models for anger after. And as a result, the next part of it is, as a result of my experiences while growing up, I made the following decisions about anger. So what did you conclude from what everybody else was telling you with the way they handled their anger? I resulted in saying that it's okay for everyone else around me to be angry, but when I'm angry, there's no room for it. It's not okay for me to be angry. Everyone else's feelings were more important than mine. That's what I got out of it, is I needed to be as small and as quiet and as easygoing and resilient, for lack of a better word, so that everybody else had the ability to feel their feelings, and so that I could be the support system that I had learned that I was, and I didn't even have the capacity to be that. So if you relate, let me know. Let me know in the comments if you relate to that. So following that is, answer the following questions about your relationship to anger now. So you're taking from what you went through as a child, and you built onto it, and you concluded this certain thing, this certain idea around anger. So when someone gets angry at me, what do you do when somebody gets angry at you? Personally, I shut down, I give up, I cry, I run away, and I get so nervous. I adopted something from my mom, right? I break down, I shut down, and I cry. And I got that directly from watching my mom do it, and that's exactly what she did. And I talked about it a little bit yesterday of how, like, however we were able to get love as a child or receive attention or whatever, you carry those things on into adulthood. The same for how you react to things. And that's why we really have to break it down, because a lot of the things that we picked up from childhood and moving on, a lot of us were in super toxic households. A lot of us were around super toxic people. And so your strategies and your methods for dealing with anger or not dealing with anger are most likely not going to be the most healthy of ways of dealing with it. So the work then comes, as not awesome as it is to have to carry the responsibility of healing for yourself. The reality is, who else is going to do it? Nobody is ever going to care as much about you as you, honestly. If you don't truly care about yourself and you don't know your self-worth, it's very hard for other people to see, especially other people that are not related to you. And you deserve so much more than that. You deserve all of the opportunities that you could possibly ever imagine, and you deserve all of the happiness in the world. And so, again, as shitty as it is, excuse my language, it's your responsibility, and you have to do it for yourself. You have to deconstruct these things that are not healthy, that are carrying you through, and really find a better way. Find a better way, because keeping it inward where it doesn't belong, it's not serving. It's not serving you anything. Yeah, so I adopted mine from my mom. What did you adopt yours from? Who in your life did you adopt your anger from? I'm interested to know. When I get angry at someone, ... what do you do when you get angry at someone? How do you deal with that? What actions do you do? What feelings do you feel? Because I get so nervous or anxious. I hide or run, and I feel super uncomfortable. Or if I feel comfortable and safe enough, I yell and scream like my mom did at all of us children. I feel guilty for being mad because I feel like there's not enough space for me. I want you to be able to have your emotions and you, so I'm just going to keep mine in and quiet so I don't have to deal with the confrontation or taking up too much space or anything like that. So, yeah. You have to find and really break down the very beginning of it all and get to the roots. So it looks like we might have a part 3 on anger if you guys are interested. There's quite a bit more to go through. I didn't get to my letter, and I did that also on purpose because I also didn't get a whole lot of response. So I'll put a separate post out there, a separate question about whether or not you guys want me to read my personal testimony and my personal letters that I've gone through in these writing exercises. It might be helpful to see how it's, I don't want to say structured because it's not actually, you write whatever you feel and however you feel and whatever comes to mind. And I'll give you some background on the writing exercises and how they are supposed to work, so you also know a little bit about that. So, like I said, we're only just beginning to truly break down the anger. So if you want a part 3, please let me know in the comments, and I will come back at you tomorrow morning. I will take the weekend off. I want to set the expectation. I won't be doing lives on the weekend, but I would love to come back at you on Monday morning. right around the same time, and we can share some more then. So possible part 3 coming at you. We're just getting started with this. If you are joining me all the way to the end, please let me know if you want me to share my writing exercise with you or just the prompt, and we'll keep it going. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Remember, you are worthy and you are not alone.